Please show me something from the Quran which is beautiful, which tells you, hey, terrorism is evil, don't do this. What teaching is there in the Quran? Is there anything in the Quran which you can use to teach a terrorist and say, look, the Quran teaches this and the Quran helps us understand that we should not be terrorists? Is there anything in the Quran?
Killing is forbidden.
Where? Please show.
Not allowed.
Where?
I'm not sure if it's shown there, but
It's not here. What is the Islamic teaching that you would use from the Quran to tell the terrorists, stop this nonsense?
More than 3,500 churches have closed in the United Kingdom.
I'm talking about terrorism. He is talking about gatekeeping. You know why? He has a contract to clean churches. He goes around cleaning churches. He is thinking he is losing business. So his concern is only money. My dear young man, my dear young friend, please, you can really help us. Why can't you? Is there no such teaching in the Quran? What is that? Please come here. Please come here.
Debate with a Muslim.
Come again.
Why? He's trying to choose some new Muslim comers who don't know about his Bible.
In the Quran, I see plenty of material. I can show you any number of material if you want. I see plenty of material as to why a Muslim, when he reads, will necessarily go around killing Jews and Christians with no particular reason, but just for the fact that they are Jews and Christians. I can show you number of material. Which country are you from? I am from India. That's right. So now you please tell me, and therefore, one second, and therefore I completely understand when there are Muslims who are terrorists, who are involved in Southport killing, Manchester bombing and so on. I completely understand why that is happening, because I see the ideology leading people necessarily to that behavior. That is fine. That, when I say fine, that I understand, because this reading this faithfully will lead to that behavior, and that is where I really want to speak to Muslims such as you, who could possibly give a contrary case. Why should a terrorist leave terrorism when he reads the Quran? Please show me something from the Quran which is beautiful, which tells you, hey, terrorism is evil, don't do this. What teaching is there in the Quran?
I don't think we believe in terrorism. We don't do terrorism.
Yeah, you may not.
Yeah.
But what is there in the Quran?
You tell me one verse from there.
Come again?
Do you know one verse from there?
I know the entire Quran.
By heart.
Not by heart. Why should I know by heart?
Okay, give me a verse.
About terrorism? About terrorism?
Is there terrorism in
Surah 532, for instance. It explains how Christians can be crucified, alternative sides, limbs cut off. Surah 9:29 explains how again Christians will be subjugated. In Surah 2, I can show you passages. Surah 8, spoils of war, Al-Anfal. I can show you chapter after chapter after chapter as to why any faithful Muslim who reads the Quran will necessarily become people such as Bin Laden, Al-Baghdadi, or any of these, depending on the chance that they get. Now, of course, we have also the homemade little minions like the Southport Murderous.
Do you think that Muslims are just terrorists, or is there other ethnicities that can be terrorists as well?
Well, that's a different story. Let's focus on Islam alone. So you please help me understand. Here is where I really want. This gentleman, I really think he can try and make sense. I can see a man who is trying to make sense. So please tell me, is there anything in the Quran which you can use to teach a terrorist and say, look, the Quran teaches this and the Quran helps us understand that we should not be terrorists? Is there anything in the Quran? How long have you been a Muslim? All your life. So is there anything in the Quran that you can use to explain how and why Muslims cannot be terrorists?
Killing is forbidden.
Where? Please show.
Not allowed.
Where?
I'm not sure if it's shown there, but
It's not here. I know, maybe you were born and brought up in the UK. So maybe you're talking about British culture. Maybe you've heard from your neighbors that clearly from a Christian culture. In a Christian culture, we believe killing even the worst of enemies is not good. We need to be really careful. That's what, as Christians, we do. We are supposed to even love our enemies. That's what we do. So that's perhaps what you're talking about right now. You've heard from your neighbors. But have you seen such a teaching in the Quran? You haven't. You see, that is the problem. Most Muslims, I don't know why they do this. Many of them are like you, and I'd like to really honestly speak to Muslims such as you. I genuinely think Islam at the core is a terrorist religion. It is.
Disagree with you.
But you on what basis? Don't just disagree. Please give me some material. What basis? Yeah, but when you don't have please, show me anything like this. Please. Where do you get the idea from?
In the terrorism that out the boundaries, not in the religion.
Please explain. Please explain.
I don't think it is.
Please explain.
In my opinion.
You see, the point is, my dear friend, this is what I said. The moment I saw you, and the moment I saw this young man, I genuinely, I
come from Birmingham, look forward to come here today just to listen to all of this.
No, I have been at the park for a very long time. And I can genuinely tell you,
I must have seen it on YouTube, that's why.
Sure.
Yeah.
And when I looked at you in the initial 2 minutes, 5 minutes of the conversation, I know that you are someone who would really hate terrorism. I can see. And in the young man also, I see the same. And that is why I was trying to really have this conversation with you. But I must wake you up, wake both of you up, to help you understand that despite your good intentions, which you might have picked up from the environment you grew up in, which is a Christian culture, despite that, the Quran doesn't teach anything good in relation to loving your neighbor, don't kill your neighbor, killing is bad. None of these actually come from the Quran. And that is what I want to challenge you.
Where does it come from then?
It only comes from the Bible. From the Christian culture.
Which Bible?
Well, what do you mean, which Bible?
You just said the Bible. Which Bible?
The Christian Bible. No. Please don't do this. I'm not. Now, here is where you need to stick to the very serious topic we are dealing with. We are talking about two different religions, Islam and Christianity, one of which has no positive teaching at all to human beings. None. Yeah, of course there is no. Do you know of any positive teaching? Anything that is useful, for example, in your family life? Anything that is useful that you can use from the Quran for your family life? There is nothing. You know, of course, how old are you? 30 or 40 or, yeah? So you have read your Quran for a while.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
I'm still learning.
Yeah, that's
I'm
fine.
not perfect.
That's fine.
Nobody's perfect.
I'm not talking about you being perfect. But you must have heard at least some good things from the Quran, if there is any.
Possibly.
So what do you remember? What do you remember that you've heard from the Quran? Not from the Christian environment, but from the Quran. What have you heard? What have you heard which is useful?
It's a peaceful religion.
Where? Please, show me. Where in the Quran you get the idea that Islam is a peaceful religion? Where in the Quran?
As far as I remember, it is.
There is no such thing, my dear friend.
People will change it, make it to be not a peaceful religion.
No, I'm talking about the Quran. You know, here is where, please remember, to keep the conversation simple, I'm not asking you to explain some Muslim behavior. I'm asking you to explain from the text itself. You see? And so that way, you're stuck with the text. So if the text is good, you can tell us something which is good.
This is in English, by any chance?
This is in English, yeah.
You read in English, I have not. Therefore, I cannot explain nothing.
What have you read?
In Arabic.
You know Arabic?
I've been reading.
But do you know Arabic?
No. But I can read.
You see the problem? Part of the problem is,
That's why you go in education, you go up in level. I'm still down
Dear
here.
friend.
I'm
My dear friend.
trying to become.
No, my dear friend. If the Quran says something which is tremendous like love your neighbor, do you think that can't be translated from Arabic to English?
Yeah, of course can. But
Yeah. So I've read the Quran and all that I find is nothing to the extent of love your enemies, but everything to the extent of kill the Jews, kill the Christians, wherever you find them, subjugate them, chop them. That's what you... Can I read a verse for you? Yeah, let's read. Surah 5, for example. Surah 5, Ayah 32. Yeah, please, you also, my dear friend, please. Yeah. Surah 5, Ayah 32.
yes, sir.
Because of that, we decreed upon the children of Israel that whoever kills a soul, unless for a soul or for corruption in the land, it is as if he had slain mankind entirely. And whoever saves one, it is as if he had saved mankind entirely. And our messengers had certainly come to them with clear proofs. Then indeed many of them after that throughout the land were transgressors. Indeed, the penalty for those who wage war against Allah and His messenger and strive upon earth corruption is none but that they be killed or crucified, or that their hands and feet be cut off from opposite sides, or that they be exiled from the land. That is for them a disgrace in this world, and for them in the hereafter is a great punishment.
Why is that? You just said there's something about disgracing Allah in the religion.
Who is fighting Allah? No one is fighting Allah.
You just said that.
Well, who is fighting Allah? Who fought Allah?
No, nobody fighting Allah. If you were to disgrace about the reason of Islam and Allah and the Prophet, that's what you just said it's something about killing. That's what the
Listen to me, please. What it says is, if anyone strive upon the earth corruption, that they may be killed or crucified, or their hands and feet be cut off from opposite side. Corruption. You know, in a Muslim Islamic theology, worshipping Jesus, which is what Christians do, is corrupting the land. This is Islamic theology. This is not my theology. Muslims are deluded, not you. Many Muslims, like al-Baghdadi, are deluded into thinking that Christians are corrupting the land. You see what I'm saying? And therefore, they think it is legitimate for them, because Christians, we worship Jesus. But al-Baghdadi and all those...
You're on. Wait 1 minute.
They see us as corruptors because we worship Jesus. And therefore, they come, what do? They kill or crucify, and our hands and feet be cut off from opposite sides. This is what they think should happen to Christians or Jews. This is what they think they should happen. And that is why they did this in Islamic State. You know Islamic State. When they took control over some land, they did this. Taliban does this. Various other terrorist organizations, Al-Shabaab everywhere, across, outside of the UK do this. And in the UK, Manchester bombing, the same reason. Because they look at us and they think you are a corrupt nation, and therefore you are eligible to be killed. Even little kids, girls, 3 little girls, beautiful little children. I have a beautiful daughter. 3 little daughters, children, killed. Why? For the same reason. Because in their mind, we are corruptors, and therefore we deserve to die. And this is why Islamic terrorism is flourishing. And so, my dear friend,
I think it's rising.
It's rising, it's becoming a serious issue, and you as a Muslim now should stand up and say, if there is no good teaching in Islam, time to leave Islam.
That will never happen.
Why not?
I don't think it will ever happen.
So even though you've understood that Islam is a terrorist religion, you won't leave it?
Okay, regarding the terrorism, no.
No, please listen to me. Even though today I've read to you one example verse, and you could not show me any good teaching from the Quran to contradict terrorism, even though you could not, which means net result is we have established Islam to be a terrorist religion. I can show you many more examples. I have my notes, I can walk you through many more examples. I would like to think, for a sensible person such as you and you, it'll be high time for you to leave Islam. And so I'm a bit surprised when you say you won't.
Yeah, no chance.
Why not?
No chance.
Why not?
Never. I was born as a Muslim in the died.
Why not? So even though Islam is a terrorist religion, you will not leave it.
I'm not about it. Never.
No, please listen to me. Even though Islam is a terrorist religion, you are saying you won't leave it. So which will make you also complicit in the same terrorism. No, complicit. If once you have understood, at the least you should be willing to say, when I go home, I want to read up a little bit. At the least you should say that. And at the least you should be able to say, if I go through the Quran and I don't find a good teaching, to contradict terrorism, but only bad teaching to support terrorism, then I will consider leaving Islam. At the least, you should be willing to say, I will do my homework. But yeah, you should really do the homework. And you too.
You should really do the homework, because you might, human beings are lovely. And I am a Christian, and I believe in the fact of, every human being messes big time in all sorts of different ways. But I genuinely think all human beings, the Bible says, very clearly, God does not desire the death of even the wicked. So God of the Bible wants people, anyone, like yourself so far, who hasn't read this and understood properly, who is on the wrong way, God of the Bible wants to give you a chance. For you to say, look, I'll investigate maybe next 1 week, next 1 full month, I'll study this in detail, and if I don't find anything useful, I will leave Islam and come follow Jesus Christ. And Jesus will, with open arms, invite you. Forget about Muhammad. If he doesn't teach you good, is it good thing to follow him? What does he teach you? Please explain. Show me one good teaching that Muhammad has given. Where? Please, show me. Yeah, good. You see, you know things which are beautiful, which come from the culture here, the Christian culture, but there is no such thing in the Quran. How terrible must this be? Well, of course, you tell me, is the Quran the word of the Islamic Allah? Islamic, this is God's word. So in your mind, this is God's word. And therefore, this better have been it does not have any good teaching. If it is only filled with bad teaching, then it doesn't deserve to be from God. This is not from God, this is from some very evil person, whoever it is. Whoever it is. You see what I'm saying? God, this is where I follow Jesus Christ. Following Jesus Christ is marvelous. I learned beautiful things. Following Jesus Christ is a marvelous thing. It's a marvelous thing. Following Jesus Christ. I'll give you a few teachings. For example, Jesus says, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you.
Wait, are you trying to say there's no bad teaching in the Bible? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I am saying there is no good teaching.
There is bad teaching in the Bible.
First, no, please focus, please. The first point, please listen. I am saying, that's not the point I made. Please listen. I am saying there is nothing good in the Quran at all. Only bad. Only bad. Only bad.
Is there any bad in the Bible? Yes or no?
No. No. I want you. So far you've been quiet, and I want you to hear on the Quran.
You said
You need to focus on the Bible. No, you need to focus on the Quran.
Christianity, which are definitely well.
You're claiming that there's no bad in the Bible, so I just want you to pull out a verse so I can prove to you there is bad in the Bible.
So, before that, okay, I can do that right now. But before that, can we agree that you haven't been able to show any good teaching in the Quran? Can we at least agree on that?
Any good teaching? Open up any verse. Any verse. Just flick
The
through.
Quran?
Yeah, any verse.
Please show. Please show one good teaching. Please tell me.
Random verse and pull it out.
Please tell me one good teaching in the Quran. Moral good teaching in the Quran. One.
Random verse, just pull it out.
What do you mean random verse?
Just go through, just random verse, pull the first one out.
Show me.
Yeah, read the first
Show
one.
me
There you
one
go.
good teaching.
There you go, read the first one.
Do you understand the word good?
Yeah,
Okay, let's do
there you go. You said there's no good. And
you
you say the first one there.
Okay. And you will not cause failure upon the earth, and you have not besides Allah any protector or helper. What is good about this?
What isn't good about this? You said there's no good.
Well, Islam, any Mickey Mouse Allah, anyone who claims to be God is going to clearly claim that he is God. Yeah, what is good in that? What is the moral good in that? Even Hitler, he is going to claim that he is a leader that you need to follow. Yeah, that's how he gathers followers. So merely because he tries to gather followers, it doesn't mean it's a morally good teaching. You see what I'm saying? what is morally good is, you know what morality is, yeah? Being kind to even your enemies is morally good teaching. I'm not talking about some random sentences in the Quran. I'm talking about morally good teaching.
But you can't really claim there's only bad in the Quran.
I am claiming so boldly because I want to challenge you, and I have read the Quran multiple times. I have researched, and I am genuinely telling you there is no good teaching in the Quran. Especially, for example, if you take topic by topic.
If there's no good in the Quran, why is Christianity declining and
Becoming
Who is
Muslim.
telling you Christianity is declining?
check the statistics?
Well, look, you know why
There's
Islam
more
is.
Muslims in the world than Christianity.
Who is
Christianity is
What does the
declining.
statistics please tell?
Yeah?
What does the statistics please tell?
I'm not sure what the statistics say.
Please
but
don't talk
do
about
your-
things which you
do
don't.
your research.
No, please don't tell what you
So
have.
are
in
you saying there's
research.
more Christians than Muslims?
How does it matter? Christians are morally upright people. Red Cross. Red Cross comes from Christians. You know, most of the marvelous YMCA, most of the marvelous charities come from Christians.
Is it?
Of course. You know why? You know, have you heard the Red
didn't see
Crescent?
it.
Have you heard the Red Crescent?
I didn't hear.
Yeah. You know, all Muslim charities are very late in origin and are copycats. Because they've seen Christians do wonderful work and they are a little bit jealous and they want to copy.
Not really.
Why do they name Red Crescent Red Crescent?
Well, why did I?
Why do they name this charity called Red Crescent? Red Crescent, did you know?
I never heard of it.
Because they want to follow Red Cross. They want to be cheap imitators. You know, the cross is a Christian. You know, Red Cross is a charity founded by Christians. Now, Muslims very late they realized, oopsie, we haven't got anything good. We better at least imitate, even if it is terribly late. And that's why you have Red Crescent. So these are deep imitation, fake imitations. Now, let me ask you this. So, I really want to wrap this up. We have gone on for a while, and I genuinely want to comment to you. What's your name?
Muhammad.
Mohammed, and what's your name?
Said.
My dear friends, can I please both of you? My YouTube channel is called Operation Steven.
I come here every week. Every week I see you. Know.
Sure. So next week, please take your time. You know the challenge right now. For example, take a topic such as terrorism, for example, and spend the next week.
Truly, I come here to listen.
Sure.
I don't come here to debate. I
That's
come
good.
here to listen
But-
and educate myself.
Sure. That's lovely. That's really lovely.
But
the
I don't
good
like the
thing.
fact you're claiming there's only bad in the Quran. And
Only bad in the
zero
Quran.
Bad in the Bible.
Take the challenge seriously. Next time when you come, for example, take the subject
How
of
bad, before
terrorism.
we wrap it up, you at least read one bad verse in the Bible.
Where do you have one
Okay,
bad
go
verse?
Get your Bible out.
Sure.
Because you claim there's zero bad, and you tell
There's
me if this
nothing.
is bad or good.
No bad teaching in the
1
Bible.
Samuel 15:3.
1 Samuel 15. What do you find? Yeah.
There's
Please tell me, what do you find in 1 Samuel 15? What do you find?
So what does it say?
Now go and attack Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have, and do not spare them, but kill both man and woman, infant and nursing child, ox and sheep, and camel and donkey.
Why kill a woman, kids? And why kill an animal for what? So you said there's completely nothing bad in the Bible.
Yeah.
You just read one out.
Why kill children and women?
So maybe you misunderstood. Let me clarify.
What did I misunderstand? It clearly says kill children.
I'll clarify. Yeah. So, God of the Bible actually judges. Let me finish. Please hear me out.
Actually, speak about that verse.
Yeah, I will.
Because you said there's no bad in the Bible.
Here is where I asked you to speak on the verse. You just asked me to speak. So let me do it because you may not know the Bible and therefore let me explain. As a Christian, I am not claiming that God of the Bible is some sort of a wimp, doesn't have a clue, can't judge, will do nothing which involves judgment. Yeah? I am quite happy for the judicial system in the UK, for the law and order system in the UK. I'm quite happy for the police to implement law and order, for example. I'm quite happy for the judiciary to implement a proper judgment when there are murders happening in our nation. I am quite happy in the same vein for God of the Bible to impose judgment as and when judgment is deserved. And there is going to come a grand judgment day at the end also. At the end, where everyone will be judged. Yeah. So I am not against judgment of God. I'm not against judgment of God.
And I want you to be clear on this. So my aunt, during the judgment of God, you might have heard of this expression, name for Armageddon. God of the Bible, Jesus is actually going to come and fight a big war at the end. I'm answering at the end. But here is the challenge. You will never ever in the entire Bible find God of the Bible asking Christians or Jews to go around kill anyone because they rejected him.
For religious reasons, you will never ever find God of the Bible asking Jews or Christians to go and kill people who have rejected God of the Bible. That's a religious reason. And the verse that I showed you from the Quran, which is why Muslims do the terrorism across the world, the reason Islamic terrorism happens, the reason why the Quran asks people to kill, Muslims to kill, is because non-Muslims have rejected the Islamic Allah. That is a very, very vile reason. This is a religious reason. You won't find that with God of the Bible. With God of the Bible, you know what has happened? God of the Bible has found nations which have done terrible things, like killing their own children and so on, and he brought in judgment at appropriate times.
I don't understand. You're not even speaking about
Amalek was a nation which wanted to fight and exterminate the nation of Israel as a nation which were slaves. You know, leaving Egypt as slaves. As Israel were leaving Egypt as slaves, Amalek wanted to commit a genocide of the nation of Israel. Committing genocide is a serious crime in the eyes of God, and therefore he is judged. That judgment is well deserved on Amalek. Genocide, for example, if there is a neighboring nation trying to commit genocide today, we should go and prevent them from doing it. We should go and subjugate them. You see what I'm saying? If we are sensible, we should go and prevent nations which are trying to commit genocide. That is a right. Like what?
Palestine.
What is happening? The only genocide that is happening in Israel is Palestinians reading the Quran properly and wanting to exterminate Israel again. That's what's happening.